watch them on film, and it's probably one of the best Navy teams that I can remember, having gone against them for many years in some different places and everything else. But very impressed with what they're doing this year, so it's going to be a tough ball game for us. We go into it again in terms of playing that style of offense and how they're executing at a very high level. It's impressive when you watch it on tape. So hopefully, I thought we've had a couple of good days of practice. I thought our developmental squad has done a good job of simulating as best they can, what we're going to see. Because again, what we see is not what we see every week, and so there are some adjustments, and it does take some time to get used to that kind of precision and speed.
Is the speed a bigger challenge in replicating them, or is it the style of what they do?
It's a combination of what they do, and then also just how well they execute it. And in terms of their alignment, how they come off, and then all the different fakes, and everybody have to be disciplined to somebody taking a dive, somebody taking the quarterback, somebody taking the pitch, keeping their eyes where they're supposed to be because they do a good job in the play action pass. So there's a lot of variables involved.
Is it particularly hard, since you guys haven't played them, like almost nobody on the roster has played against Navy before? Does that make it additionally hard?
Yeah, I'm sure that some of our guys have never played against this style of offense before. So we've tried to do everything that we can, this week to get as many looks and as many reps as we could, doing some things from a walkthrough and then doing things from a full speed standpoint. And that's all you can do.
Randy, is there any time during the season before this game that you spend a minute or two preparing for that kind of an offense?
Not really, because you don't have that many practice opportunities to get ready for. If you start doing that, we did some things during preseason in terms of what we wanted to run. We did it then, but not during the season, because our bye, Joe, was after week 2, and we had other things we had to do, so we did that stuff in preseason. So hopefully there's some recall, from what we did in the preseason training camp to now.
Has anything changed with the team's demeanor or attitude after the win, or is it kind of the same as it's been?
I think it's been the same as it was before. They've come to work this week just like they've done the previous weeks. They might have a little bit more bounce in their step. I think anytime you win, you feel a little bit better. But again, I like the way they've approached things as we've gone each and every week.
You made the comment yesterday on the AAC call that the team is better than you were at the beginning of the year, and you see a group of guys who are eager and hungry to keep getting better. What can you point to specifically that you're seeing from the team that reinforces those views?
I just think when you just take a look in terms of how guys have grown and developed over that time, you see guys getting better. And again, you talk to coaches before the game and after the game, and your opposing coaches are telling you the same thing. You're hearing the same thing, and they get it because they're in the business. That's the thing. Those are the kind of people you listen to, because they're in the business and they understand it. And then for us, this is what we do for a living, and we watch the film all the time, and you just see. We scored 56 points. We haven't had 56 points since against an FBS team since 2009. And then we had some other years these past years we had 40-some or whatever against SMU last year. So, but again, you just see guys getting better, and that to me is just what you have to do. You have to keep building and keep trying to get better each and every week, and hopefully we can get better from last week to this week. The quality of the opponent goes from here to here.
What improvements have you seen on the offense that enabled them to score more points? Were they executing better, obviously? What improvements have you seen?
I think when you can run the ball and throw the ball well, and you have balance, that helps. And I think that's something that hopefully we'll be able to continue to do. And again, you know, you got a true freshman quarterback who's playing. And remember, we had a true freshman quarterback here back in 2001. You know, we only won 3 games that year.
Whatever happened to him? Whatever happened to him?
He's doing pretty well in the business that you guys are in, you know, and without any training. So, you know.
You've been praiseworthy of Kevin Mentz's work at the Grandy all year long. Is it nice to see that get rewarded with the type of performance he had Saturday and get honored by the league?
There's no question, Joe. I mean, the guy works extremely hard. You know, he works extremely hard, and he's also very prideful in terms of how he plays and his own standards and expectations that he has for himself as a football player. And that's why you love being around the guy, because you know what, every day, whether it's the practice field or whether it's game day, you're going to get his best effort, and that's all you ever want. And hopefully how he goes about his business, other people around him see it and they want to try to emulate it. Or if they work as hard as him, then maybe they'll have, you know, some of the same success. I'm not going to say all the same success, but at least have an opportunity to have that kind of success. Because if you work that hard and it means that much to you and have that much pride, you know, you're going to have success.
How has KK played lately? He seems to have played well, but maybe a few too many penalties for your liking. Mistakes of aggression, though, or they kind of not good penalties, but you know, things that are sort of acceptable.
Again, and I've said this, Neil, you know, probably every week. He doesn't realize how good he can be, and he flashes, and when he flashes, he can be very, very good. And then there's times when he gets lackadaisical, and he's just an average guy. And when he's not disciplined, he causes problems to himself and to our team. You know, the one penalty he had was a very poor penalty, a dumb penalty, and the other one was on Jonathan Pace. It wasn't on him, it was on Jonathan. But again, we're just trying to work with him to get him to understand that you have to be disciplined in every phase of your life. And because some of the things that he's not disciplined with on the field, that carries over into other things. And so my biggest challenge for him is just do what we ask you to do. And he's getting better at it. Still got a lot of work to do, but he's still too inconsistent. But I like the fact that he does have an edge to him. He has a physicalness to him that helps us, and we need more of that. But it has to. Now he's got to refine it, and we've got to, you know, make sure that we continue to stay on him to make sure he doesn't play outside the box where it's going to hurt us as a team.
Did you know or expect that Cam Ross could get to this level so quickly, or what has he done that has accelerated his learning process?
Well, you know, Cam is a young man who, again, has a very good work ethic. You know, he had an understanding before he came here of what it takes to be successful. You know, he's had 2 brothers who played at this level and came from a really good program out of high school. So he knew how to work, he knew how to sacrifice, he was disciplined, you know, comes from a really good family. For freshmen, you really don't know if that's what I expected. I knew he had the ability to be a good football player. But again, when you bring people in and it's all new to them, you don't know what's going to happen. But when you've watched him go through practice, you watched him do things, you said, okay, you know, this guy has a chance to be able to do something special. But again, he's another guy that loves the game, loves to compete, and he's not afraid to work hard. I mean, there was times on Saturday that he wasn't even on the field. He ran out into the end zone to congratulate guys from the sideline. I mean, that's the kind of kid that he is. And he does, you know, what I like about him, he just goes about his business, and he doesn't say much. just works. And need more guys like him.
You talked about guys getting better. I'm asked about Ian Swenson here, who obviously getting time because of the injuries, but career high 11 tackles. Have you seen improvement with him?
Yeah, seen a lot of improvement with him. It just took Ian a little bit to grow up. And, there was something that happened that made him finally, I think, see the light. And, but I'm very, very happy with how he's playing and what he's doing. There's still things that he's got to work on and get better, but I really like how he's playing and what he's doing.
Is he much more physical this year as opposed to years prior?
Yeah, and again, I think the thing is, I think he's taking it more serious this year. Like I said, I think he's grown up a little bit, and like I said, I'll just leave it at that.
What goes into running a play, the Skeins play that you use? Like, do you have to when do you determine when to use that, or is you get faith in practice that it's working in practice a lot, and now is the time? What goes into using a play like that? The Skeins through
that one? Well, the offensive staff, they I don't call them trick plays. I think they're just deceptive. You might call them deceptive plays, but they're not trick plays. But and you do them for a rhyme and reason. But you try to practice things each week that you see that might be available to you based on what the opponent's doing, and you go out and practice it, and you do it in practice, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you keep it in the game plan. And then it's just a feel for when you game plan together, and you just make that call. And I mean, that was one that was very well executed, and at the right time and in the right place.
How big was that win to just kind of the atmosphere of the season? Does it almost feel like a weight's been lifted?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's good to win. I mean, I'm happy for the kids that we got to win for them, because again, I think what happens is when you're working and you're putting all that time in, sometimes subconsciously you might start to think, geez, I'm working so hard and nothing's happening. But so it's always good to be able to get a win, because it kind of just validates the work that you're putting in, and then you can start to hopefully get some confidence, from it. But I just look at it as, it's one of those things where you just keep working and doing it the right way, good things are going to happen. Now if the kids think it's a relief, that's something you'll have to, ask them. But to me, it's just a matter of you just keep working and keep grinding, keep sawing wood, and eventually you got to get yourself out of it, and that's what we were able to do.
Jackson Mitchell had 13 tackles against UMass in this only his second start. It's the most on the team this year. What have you seen from him as he's progressed from his first game to his second game starting with so much time?
Well, I've talked about Jackson enough for a freshman. Again, as I said, I mean, he's a guy that, another one of those young guys, like Cam, like Jack, that loves the game of football, has good football intelligence, good instincts, and plays hard. And that's what you need. And again, he's only played 2 games, but he's got a long way to go yet. But you're not worried about him, because you get his best effort each and every day, and he'll improve, and he'll continue to improve as he gets bigger and stronger and as he sees more things. But like I said, he's got a long way to go yet, like Cam does, like Jack does, like a lot of these guys, because they're so young. And but it's good to see him make those plays, and again, the intensity and the effort that they go about their business is what you want out of everybody.
When you were at Maryland, did you get any chance, non-football time, to spend any time at the Naval campus, Navy campus at all? Just curious if you...
To visit with our coaches or anything?
Or just visit, just be on the campus at all?
Yeah, I was down there once or twice.
I just
It's
want
a nice area.
Yeah, just want
Great area.
your impressions of the whole, playing at military academy and the campus and everything.
Well, again, you have, I've competed against Navy as a player, as an assistant coach, as a head coach, and I just have a tremendous amount of respect for those young men, who are at the academy in terms of them deciding to do what they wanted to do in terms of going there and then serving their country and doing those things. And when you go down to Annapolis, I mean, there's not a much better setting for a campus anywhere. And plus you can get the blue crabs, the hard shell crabs, that's pretty good, crab cakes. But, again, from Kenny, to Paul Johnson, to Gary Tranquil, to George Welsh, having competed against all those guys, to me it's an honor and privilege to be able to play those guys because of just my respect for who they are and what they stand for. And every time you play a Navy team, you're going to have to be at your best in order to beat them. And and again, to me down there, it's a great setting down there.
Do you kind of feel like this is like the best time for you to be playing a team like Navy, coming off a big win like that?
No. I'd rather have a week, a bye week, to prepare. But it is what it is, But again, our kids are excited, we're trying to win 2 in a row. But ideally, from a coach's perspective standpoint, you'd rather have, some extra time, and you'd rather not be on a short week, one less day than what you have. But, I'm excited that we're coming off a win and we're trying to get 2, but if you ask me what would be the ideal thing, you'd love to have a bye before you play, because it's not something that you play each and every week. And again, I think the one thing is, you watch the tape and you watch Tulane. Tulane plays them, they go down 24-0 like that. I think the first 4 drives, 3 touchdowns and a field goal. And you could see they weren't probably used to the speed, even though they played Army. They get down 24-0. Now they ended up coming back, and you could see in the second half, they played so much better in the second half. And you talk to some people, and they really didn't do anything different, but they just executed better, because they saw it. And that's the biggest thing. You have to be disciplined, playing against this style of offense.
Getting back to the confidence comment you just made, how much of an effect can that have on a football team? When you get some confidence, you win a game, and you get ready for your next game.
Well, I think it can have a lot, as you go into a game. But, you still got to go out and play the game. I mean, you can't say all of a sudden we won and we got all this confidence and not go out and prepare and do the things you got to do. You still got to go out and play and execute at a very high level to do that. But I think the thing is, I think the one thing is when you win, you've earned that right to have some confidence there. But again, that was last week. This is this week. It's a whole different week. And so you can't dwell on what took place last week. You got to turn the page and move forward as quickly as you can because of what you're doing this week and who you're playing. It's different. Every week it's different. Who you're playing, the personnel you're going against. So you just got to put that behind you and move on and say, yeah, I did this well and all that, but I got to move on and try to be better this week.
Anybody else?
Good? All right.